get into some shite. Hi, folks. How are you? It's a little shite time here on Apocaleptic. Hi, I'm Rick. I'm going to be talking to you for just a few minutes. Not very long. I'll keep it short. I'll try to keep it short. Thought I'd do a little examining of 2022 as it goes out, like it's actually a thing. We like to do that. We like to pretend like it's a little capsule of stuff that comes in, and then we experience it, and then it goes out. It's gone forever. That's how we like to think about things, right? As human beings, we like to kind of keep our little stories together. And this is the story of 2022. So to talk about that, I'm in the process of moving out of my studio. You know, I've been doing podcasts for quite a while. So Sherry Brown and I started Life in a Kilt podcast back in 2013 when I was wearing a kilt every day, which I'm not doing anymore. Don't wear it every day. I do love wearing a kilt, though. Don't get the opportunity as much as I used to. But I like doing it. And we did the podcast. We were living in Chattanooga at the time, and we put it together, and we had a good time doing it. We did 6 episodes. And then we kind of went at it. We had a little thing. Well, we were having a thing. We were living together. We were involved. And that kind of blew up and disappeared. And we quit doing the podcast. And then I moved. Life happened. About a year later, I met someone, and then things kind of happened, and I ended up moving to Atlanta, and that person became my wife, and we're still living together. And then eventually Sherry decided she would move here too, and she moved here, and we started a podcast, restarted the podcast, Life in a Kilt podcast, and we did that for a few years. And all of the episodes happened right here in this little studio that I'm in right now. Except for the few that I did in Chattanooga, every time I podcasted, is that the term podcasted? It has been here in this little studio. We did do some remotes. I did do a few shows at Sherry's place, but it's all been here, and now I'm moving out. So I'm shifting rooms is what's happening. We have 2 spare bedrooms. We don't have kids. We got spare bedrooms, and they become storage places because we don't use them or need them for anything, which is kind of dumb. And so we've decided we're going to stop doing that. So the one of the bedrooms is going to become a library. And we decided this room will be the library, and the podcast room, the studio, is going to move to the other room. It's a little bigger, so I have more room to kind of operate. It'll be my office and the studio. So we're moving. Interesting, right? We're moving everything. So right now it's very jumbled, and I can barely do the show. I don't have a lot of room here. So I've got to move some stuff around. Sorry. How are you? How's your final day of this little capsule we call 2023? You know, I was trying to do in my mind, I was trying to think what defined the year for me in the story of 2023. What would I call it? What's the title that I'm going to give 2023? And to me, this year has just been about loss, straight up about loss. Now, the interesting thing is I can remember the year 2000, 23 years ago. That whole year was about loss for me. And it sent me spiraling into this big depression. I had a marriage that ended. I had a lot of family things that happened. I had pets that died. I had jobs that went away, just one after another. And I didn't handle the change very well. And so man, it was the worst depression I'd ever been in. And if you've been in depression, you know what it's like. There's a lot of thoughts of just ending it all. I don't think I ever really seriously contemplated suicide, but I did feel like if I was in a room and the ceiling fell, I would be okay. Or if I just walked out and a bus hit me, I would be fine. And those kind of feelings, gosh, I feel bad for people who deal with them now every day because I know how hard they are. But I also know how it feels when you're not in that. And you can't get out of it because I was in it. I was stuck in it. I literally thought it's like being in a bag. It's like being in some kind of a sealed vat you just can't get out of, and you're suffocating, and it's really, really bad. And I'm one of the lucky ones in that. At one day, and I was in the restroom, and I could just feel sweat coming out of my body because I was so anxious, and just things were happening that just wasn't good, and I felt like I was going crazy. And I could just remember, for no apparent reason, something in my head just clicked. And I was like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why is this happening? This is dumb. And it was over. The depression just kind of like popped like a little blister, and it was done. And I climbed out of it. I didn't even need to climb out of it. That's how it's so much of a chemical thing it is in your body. It's how it's such a mental thing. It's not even in your control. And so a lot of people are under that kind of pressure for so long, and then they make really bad decisions because of it. And some of them are terminal. And that's really sad, because at some point it could just pop and you're out of it. It's done. You're free. And that's what happened to me. It was, in some ways, it was gradual. There was still some things that were happening that I had to deal with, but it wasn't as dark as it was. And I was able to deal with those things. So this year, kind of the same thing, not the same problems, the same type of problems. So far, no big, like romantic relationship issues. Who knows what's going to happen on the front, but so many things this year I lost. Jobs, friendships, family members, people I cared about, just income, one thing after another. Health. I got COVID twice this year. That was crazy. It just seemed like one thing after another. I had the worst experiences, some of the worst experiences of my life in my work. I had a client that actually stole, I think it's like $11,000 or more from me. They just stole it. That really hits you. That's an income bomb right there. And you can't do anything about it. It's just not going to happen. Lost a friendship, lost a podcast. Again, that situation blew up. I don't know if it'll ever resolve. I don't know. I'd love for it to. Hope it does someday. I can't. There's certain things you just can't control. And that, I feel like, is the thing that marks 2023 or 2022. We're not 2023 yet. 2022, as opposed to 2000. For some reason, I don't know if it's age, experience, whatever, but I had the tools to handle the loss better, it seems. I'm not a good person with change. I don't like having to move my podcast studio. I like recording here. But I'll get used to it. I feel like this year it's kind of, in some ways, it's been like a ride. You know, I've just sort of, sometimes I've participated Seriously, you kind of have to. But for the most part, I just feel like I just kind of, almost like a pinball, you just kind of bink, bink, bink between things that happen. And you just sort of, at some point, you either go crazy or you just have to kind of watch them happen. It's either going to damage you if you participate in it, or you could kind of distance yourself. Just let the things happen. The things of life, let them go. Just let them bink, bink, bink you all through. The little flappers will throw you back up into it. Bink, 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 bink. You know, it's a very 60s, 70s reference. I apologize. For those of you who have no idea what pinball is, I guess people still play pinball, right? So anyway, I just, I do have some residual things, feelings about things that have happened. I do hope things work out in a lot of areas. I do hope I can recover in a lot of areas. I'm glad to put away a lot of stuff. There's some dysfunctional stuff that I don't want to deal with ever again. So I'm glad that that's gone. It's nice to see, even though it's scary, kind of hurts, but it's nice to know that's not something I'm going to have to deal with ever again. Now I got to just figure out a way to move on. And that's a very healthy thing. So I don't have those, I don't even know that I had depressive feelings this year during the loss. I mean, there's sadness sometimes, but it didn't hit me in the way that it did before. And that, you know, you just learn. That's the good part about growing old. I tried to figure out if there was some kind of a list that I could do of like the best of, you know, my best. I don't have a best of 2022. I had some great experiences. I had some things that I loved. But I could probably do a better worst of list. You know, losing people is the worst of. You know, people who die you're never going to see again, people you cared about, friendships that are gone you don't have anymore. That's those kind of things. That's the worst part. I don't have the experience. Maybe I used to be, but I'm not the kind of person who clings to experiences. I tend now just to kind of live them, experience them, and let them go. And so I don't really have a best of list. It's just 22 was just a series of experiences that I had, and now those experiences are gone, and I'll have another group of experiences in 2023. It's really just one big experience. It's the now. But we like to slice it and dice it, and it works for our little stories. So I'm going to play along. And say, so I feel like my favorite experiences were just, I don't mean to be schmaltzy, but I don't even know what schmaltzy means. I think it means what I'm going to say. But I liked the experiences that I spent with my wife, just doing simple things. The simple experiences now are the ones that I love. I don't need to go to big things. I don't need to have gigantic, overwhelming experiences anymore for them to be important. I just like the simple things. My favorite thing this year was just seeing Christmas lights. I don't know why. I've always loved Christmas lights, but driving around and seeing exterior Christmas lights, it was awesome. I just not looking forward to seeing that go away. My wife and I have our favorite little Japanese restaurant in downtown Decatur. And if you're ever downtown Decatur, it's called Sushi Avenue. Go grab some ramen there. Sushi's good there as well. My favorite thing is to go there with my wife. We used to have a Sunday date. Every Sunday we would have lunch sushi and lunch ramen. I have the ramen. She has the sushi. And we're going to start that again. We're going to start doing that again. Sundays. Join us, won't you? Ramen at Sushi Avenue. One of my favorite. Ramen anywhere. How do you? It's just good. I believe. I'm sure somebody screws it up. But I was trying to figure out what my best of. You got to have like your best movies, but I don't have any of those. I don't think I didn't go to see any first run movie at all. And I think because of COVID, they didn't even have some of the first run movies at theaters this year. I did see The Adam Project. Sherry Brown made me watch that. I didn't think I was going to like it. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to like it. And I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. And then when I was looking at some of the list of best of movies of the year, it was on those lists. So I can say I did see that. I did enjoy that. It was original, kind of unique. I had fun. There was some stuff about it a little silly, but overall, I like Ryan Reynolds. He was good. Movies, there were a lot of movies I want to see that I haven't seen or didn't see. And that's kind of what I do is with music, movies, what have you, I wait a year or two and then I get into it. And then I'm like, oh, this is really good. And everybody else is like, yeah, we knew that 2 years ago. Thanks for jumping on a little late there. But I do that with everything. I find music late. So the best of this year will be my favorite in 2 years, I'm sure. I wanted to see Top Gun. I didn't see Top Gun, and I really wanted to see Top Gun. There were a couple other really good, like popular movies I didn't go see. I will get around to seeing Top Gun, but I wanted to see it in the theater. You kind of need to, right? Maverick. Best music. See, again, I listened to a lot of old music. I did at one point. I was just like, all right, I'm going to make an effort to just listen to new music, and I did, and I found some stuff I really liked. I could not tell you the name of any of it now. I just listened to it and loved it, and then let it go. I just didn't hold on to it. I don't think you're supposed to do it that way, but that's what I did. So I do have to say, I knew that Flogging Molly had a new album coming out this year, and it came out, and I've been a Flogging Molly fan for a while, and I just it's gonna just be just the same old stuff, right? I don't know. I just lose the passion for some of that kind of stuff. When you're a kid, music is your life. When you're an old guy, it's okay. So, yeah, I knew it was coming out, and I just thought, all right, I'm going to put it in. I'll give it a listen. I was on a trip or something, driving long distance. I just thought I would listen to it, put it in. It was good. I was like, wow, okay. Better than I thought. So, Flogging Molly Anthem, just by default, has to be my favorite. I did hear some other good music this year in other genres. But I don't know whether it came out this year or last year. I don't know. There was I was looking through some best of music, trying to think, did I find like some music lists other people have made, trying to find out if maybe I'd forgotten something. And I kept seeing this guy, person come up, Adeem the Artist. And it kept coming up on a lot of different lists as being one of the best of the year. So I thought, well, I'll listen to this. I put it in, I listened to it. I was really kind of impressed. It's sort of roots alternate. What are they calling it now? I don't remember the roots. We'll just go with roots. It's country, new country, not old style twangy. It's just really kind of, I like roots. It's very rooted. Very, very Americana. That's the word. Americana. That's what they're using. I knew it was an A word. Adeem the Artist. Adeem the Artist. So I listened to it and I thought, wow. So there's a lot of. So let me clarify. Adeem the Artist is claims to be non-binary and likes the pronouns or uses the pronouns they, them. So I'm going to try to do that and hope I don't screw up. But I was very impressed. So the themes of this music, of this particular album, what was it called? White Trash something. Sorry, I didn't write it down. There's a lot of examining of attitudes, how, that kind of examining of the South, how it's changing with attitudes towards homosexuality and races and religion, the struggles. There's a lot. I know I have so many friends who are gay who are also churchgoers. And I just can't imagine it. I know that's changing. There's a lot more churches who are accepting here in Atlanta. It's very popular, but they're embracing and accepting of the gay community, LGBTQ. Oh, gosh, I can't remember. Let's just do one letter. Can we? I can't remember all the letters. The Alphabet Kids. Can we do that? How about that? The Alphabet Kids. I like that. That sounds like a superhero. Much more embracing. But there's a struggle in that because it will never, or at least for a long time, it's not going to be totally accepting. And so my friends who are gay, and I mean, I have a friend who's been married longer than I have been married since the beginning, I should say. Her marriage lasted longer than all of my marriages. And I know how hard that is. And they still seem to be in love. It's great. I know a lot of relationships, gay relationships, that have totally outlasted any of my goofy heterosexual relationships. And a lot of my friends who go to church, and I don't go to church, and I question them, like, why do you do that? Why do you support that? Why would you want to support an institution that, number one, thinks you're going to hell, and number two, would like to speed it along? Why would you support that? I can't. And I just look, and I admire in a way that those people know what they like. Those particular people know what they like, what they're committed to, what they believe, and they are comfortable. They've come to terms with it. They've reconciled that situation. I can't do it. And there is that struggle still. A lot of gay people in the South who want to go to church, or who are being judged by people who go to church. Because religion is big in the South and probably big everywhere. But that's what they deal with daily, on a daily basis. So this album by Adim the artist talks a lot about that. Very interesting. There's a very interesting, I would say, love song, which is about two men. And hearing that from a country artist is just so far into my ear, and it's very sweet. And anyway, I'm not going to give the album away. Listen to it. And also, this guy, can I say guy? This person is from Knoxville, my hometown. Not originally, but lived there for a long time. Maybe still be there. I don't know. So anyway, I don't know the person, never met Adim the artist, but I really enjoy the album and would say, give it a listen. I'm not going to yet say it's my favorite of the year because I just found out about it this morning. Flogging Molly is good. Best movie, TV show, anyway, I don't know. I watched a lot of stuff on Netflix. I saw a lot of really good documentaries. They're not all from this year. I don't know. The Staircase was a documentary series that I saw, and that was really good. Very intense, very riveting. I lost the desire to see Cobra Kai. Watched all of them. I didn't watch the last 2 seasons, and I don't know. Trying to talk myself into it. I like the idea of the franchise, but the violence and the just graphic, dumb, over the top violence. I can't do it. Kids beating the crap out of other kids. It's not fun. All right, Grandpa, shut up. Did a lot of spiritual work this year. I don't know if that had anything to do with being able to handle the loss. Kind of hope maybe it did. Spirituality, I get farther and farther or deeper and deeper into it. I feel like I become more and more open. I'm more and more awake. Can I use that word? At the same time, more and more confused. And I've been doing this for 60 years, and I honestly, I'm not sure I'm any closer to any goal. I don't really have a goal, so I'm just floating, so I can't complain. But there's been a lot of great experiences. I've encountered some very interesting people, teachers, philosophies, lessons, whatever you want to call them, and I've enjoyed them. For you who might be interested, I just recently discovered the works of Claire Diamond, Clare, I think, Dimond. And I kind of like what she's saying, so I'm going to listen a little more to her. She's got a podcast. I'm telling you these things so maybe you can listen to if you want to. You don't have to. It's not required. My favorite thing I did this year, I believe, was this right here. What you're listening to started Apocaleptic. Been wanting to do it for a while. Been talking about it. Been trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I finally made it happen. And really the end of this epic disaster pushed the beginning of this. You know, I would have probably still been waffling on when I was going to start it. And maybe, I'm not going to say it's the worst thing that happened this year, but one of the worst things was losing this epic disaster. I didn't want that. I don't like that. I enjoyed doing the podcast. Sherry and I worked well together, and I didn't like losing that. But there's some things, again, beyond your control. You just do what comes up, right? And so I did, and then I'm here. So this podcast will go on no matter what happens in my life. If I do another podcast, if I do a duo, solo, whatever, any other podcast, this I'm always going to do. I love this. This may not be your type of podcast, but it's fine. I like it. It's what I want to do. And I created, especially for you, a listener line to call 678-348-0008 for you to call or text anything you want to talk about. See, I didn't have that on my other podcasts, just this one. That's how much I've learned to care about you. So I created that for you, and please use it if you would like. If you just want, tell me your top, tell me your top of 2022, your top anything, experiences, whatever. I don't care. Food. What'd you eat that was really good this year? I know I had some good food, went to some good restaurants. I couldn't tell you one of them right now. I can remember putting wonderful, excellent, best tasting tuna that I've ever had in my mouth this year. And I can't remember where it came from. I tried to remember. I can't think of it. I just live the experiences, then move on. I don't write them down. I actually had to look through my photo list to try to find out what I did that was worth taking pictures of. Okay. Well, that's it. That's my list. That's my little 2022 capsule. Closed. Gone for good. I'm still going to create a few extra little memories here. New Year's Eve, going to go on a little trip with my wife. That'll be fun. I love doing that. We're going to take our little doggies and go away, Put somebody in charge of your house. You just go away and do whatever for as long as you want. You don't have to worry about it. I might miss you. I'm going to try putting up a show. I'm going to try to record a show for the first of the year, and I'll put that up. But it won't be the same as talking to you live. It will be the same because we never talk live. All right. Send me an email, rick@apocaleptic.com. Visit me. Visit me and the kids, the grandkids, on Facebook. We're there. I'm there. I never hear from anyone. No one ever calls. You never call. Drop me a line. Drop me an instant message and say hi. Happy New Year. Happy Old Year. And that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about. I will see you next week, and we'll try to get 2023 off to a good year, right? It can't be bad. A year of loss has to be followed with a year of gain, right? It just evens out that way. That's life. I'm sure of it.